What is good, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man Cars Amari here, and welcome back to another episode of Josiah's Grape Reviews. Today we'll be reviewing the Daytona Speedweeks, everything that happened in Daytona Speedweeks. Let's go ahead and get with it. I'll recap the duels. Duel 1 was won by Joe Logano. Duel 2 was won by Chase Elliott. Arca Race was won by Gio after Jake Finch and there's another guy. I forgot who was another guy. Gustine. They both wrecked out of the top two. Rozier kind of pushed Jake Finch and wrecked both of them. So there was that, but Rozier held on to win the race. I'll mention the truck race. It was won by Chandler Smith. A crazy truck race, honestly. It looked like Hayden Honeycutt was going to win, then looked like John Hunter Nemechek was going to win. It was a lot of action on the final lap. It was a 4-wide finish. Chandler Smith was like 8th on the final corner and stole the win. It's insane. Chandler Smith, Gio Rozier, Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski, and John Hunter Nemechek all finishing inside the top 5. A lot of Cup guys in the truck series, because Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in his first truck series race was in 6th. Brendan Queen, the highest Dodge Ram guy, was 7th. Caden Honeycutt fell to 8th. Tyler Ankrum, Nick Lights, Stuart Freeze in the top 10. I have him as my favorites. That's why it's like off the board or whatever. Nick Lights 11th. Ben Rhodes 12th. Andres Perez 13th. Cole Butcher 14th. Travis Pastrana 15th. Frankie Muniz is back-to-back top 20s at Daytona for Muniz. Daniel Dye was 17th, Clay Greenfield 18th, Minnie Tyrell 19th, Josh Freeman 20th, Spencer Moore 21st, Justin Haley 22nd, Tanner Gray, Michael McDowell, Chris Wright the top 25, followed by Daniel Hemrick, Dawson Sutton, Taylor Gray, Grant Enfinger, and Jason Kitzmiller. Then outside the top 30, Lane Riggs, Jake Garcia, Jason White, Corey LaJoy, Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar, I think, had the best truck by far, him and McDowell. But had 2 flat tires, his engine stalled, then spun again. Disaster from Tony Stewart and Cletus McFarland, bottom 2. Probably debatably the 2 most anticipated drivers in the field. Cletus McFarland qualified 12th, was running inside the top 10, and spun by himself, lap 6. Then Tony Stewart was involved in a wreck with Jake Garcia, I think late in stage 2. So that sucked. Now on to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Can you take a guess as to who won? It was Austin Hill. In other news, water is wet. So here you go. Austin Hill, Justin Allgaier, Jordan Anderson. Nope, sorry. I keep doing it again. Ryan Sieg was 3rd. I have him as my favorites again. I gotta look out for this. Then Jordan Anderson and Sammy Smith, the top 5. Jordan Anderson, man, he had a huge run, got to Hill. Nobody could get by Hill. Hill was by far the best driver, best car in the field. Won the pole, swept the stages, won the race. It's just nobody can get around the 21 of Austin Hill. They can't do anything. Sammy Smith 5th. Ryan Ellis, his second top 10. It's a 6th place finish. Carson Kvapil 7th. Blaine Perkins ran extremely well the whole race. Got a shout out Blaine Perkins finishing 8th. Jesse 11th. Raja Caruth were the top 20. Anthony Alfredo 11th. Brendan Poole 12th. Patrick Emmerling, Parker Ratzloff, and Kyle Sieg were the top 15. LeVar Scott, Josh Bilicki, Patrick Stapoli, Carson Ware, and Carson Hocevar the top 20. Daniel Dye, Austin Green, Luke Fenhouse, Sheldon Creed, Jeb Burton were the top 25. William Sawalich, Corey Day, Taylor Gray, Harrison Burton, and Brandon Jones were the top 30. Then outside the top 30, Sam Mayer, Jeremy Clements, Josh Williams, Dean Thompson. I forget, Natalie Decker was 33rd. I have her out there with my favorites. And then Nick Sanchez, Gio Rozier, and Mason Maggio were all the rest of the finishers. So there's that. I'll put the emphasis on the Daytona 500. I wanted to mention, the truck race and Xfinity race, the O'Reilly series. I got to start calling it that, and ARC race and everything else. Main focus will be on the Daytona 500, which is what happened yesterday. The 500 was insane. It was crazy, except for a brief moment at the beginning of Stage 3 where they were just fuel saving, and it was completely boring. It was just Corey Heim, Bubba Walls, and Christopher Bell, 3 wide, just swapping positions up until about 30 to go. That's when it got interesting. But it was a pretty interesting. It was for Super Speedway race in the next gen. It was a pretty good race. It's just that moment was very, very dull. I guess I'll go in chronological order, or do I just go with finishing results? Yeah, I'll start the finish, and then I'll talk about the finish. Because with the restart with 4 laps to go, it was Michael McDowell, who was the only one who hadn't pitted. He got a caution, so he was able to stay out. I'd say fuel. Carson Hocevar was up there. Bubba Wallace, I think, was up there. Some other guys late in the race. Michael McDowell led for coming to 2 to go. Carson Hocevar led the white flag lap, and then all chaos ensued. The whole final lap was just chaos. All that. Carson Hocevar and Eric Jones were top 2. A bump gone wrong sent Hocevar, Eric Jones, and some other spinning. William Byron lost momentum. He had a shot at his 3rd Daytona 500 and didn't quite get it. When the smoke settled, when the dust cleared, it was 3 wide, and it looked like for most of the final lap. That Chase Elliott, the guy in his 11th try of the 500, the guy who's never won a crown jewel race, was going to finally break through and get his crown jewel win with Zane Smith pushing him. Believe me, my heart's pounding. I'm just saying, please, 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 come on. Come on. My dad's next to me, also Chase Elliott fan. We're just rooting for that 9 to come around and take the checkered flag to hoist the Harley J. Earl Trophy. But unfortunately, behind him, something was brewing behind Elliott and Zane Smith, and that was the 2311 Toyotas of Tyler Reddick and Riley Herbst. Tyler Reddick and Riley Herbst are both, co-owned by Michael Jordan owns that team. So does Denny Hamlin, but Michael Jordan, was there at the track. He was interviewed and asked, what does it take to win the 500, whatnot. He said he hoped to have one or a couple guys up there, which is hard to do, but he had 2 guys up there. It actually happened. He had some guys up there. And as for Elliott and Brad Keselowski, who were both up there late, on the final lap, they showed the graphic of all the champions that have not won the 500. There were 5 of them, Brad Keselowski and Chase Elliott. They were both on the list and looked like, again, Elliott was going to break through and cross his name off the list. But coming around turn 4, Reddick and Herbst, they come with the run. Elliott gets the first block right. He does not get the second. Reddick goes to the bottom with a picture-perfect pass on Chase Elliott. And behind, Riley Herbst just tries to clear Brad and wasn't close. Wrecked himself, wrecked Brad, wrecked everybody in the lead, including Chase Elliott. Everybody wrecked except Tyler Reddick, who crossed the line. Tyler Reddick, I'll get to Chase Elliott and everybody else in a moment. Believe me, Tyler Reddick is your 2026 Daytona 500 champion. Congratulations to him and Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. I picked Denny Hamlin to win because of everything that's happened to him in the offseason. Obviously, losing the championship, then losing his father in a house fire, and his mom was still recovering. I thought of his 4th Daytona 500 win, it would be sentimental, just like his second one was when he won it for J.D. Gibbs 7 years ago in the 2019 Daytona 500. Thought he could do it again. He was up there, was involved in the wreck with Justin Allgaier. Gets that in a moment. But he doesn't win as a driver. He does win as an owner. It's his first Daytona 500 win as an owner. So congrats to him. Much deserved for Hamlin and for Michael Jordan. Congrats to him. As if he doesn't. He just got 6. He has 6. He has 6 rings in the NBA. Built the Bulls into a dynasty, and now he's a Daytona 500 owner, champion. Like, it's insane. And Tyler Reddick, this guy last year, this is a bigger win than I think people realize. Last year, he did not win a race. He was very consistent. He was my preseason pick last season to win the championship. And he was consistent, but he just didn't win. He did not win, including last year on the Daytona 500 where he came home second right behind William Byron. So he knew what it was like to be on the losing side of the 500. This time around, he knows what it's like to be on the winning side of the chaos on the 500 with a wreck on the final lap and all that. So congrats to Reddick. I'll look at the finishing results here. Tyler Reddick, of course, won the race. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. came home in second. It was very interesting, that first wreck that happened on the final lap. They did not throw the caution, which NASCAR was very, very consistently not trying to throw cautions. Whenever there was a spin on the back or spin in the back of the field or the bottom of the track, NASCAR would just hold and not throw a caution unless absolutely necessary. I think they learned from last year and the outrage from doing it wrong in the 500 and then doing it wrong at Echo Park the following week, back-to-back weeks. They're like, we can't have it happen again. So we're just not going to do it. We're just not going to throw cautions. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. And then upon further review, hosts of our, his car, through the infield. So, in turns 1 and 2. So, you could argue there was a caution. If the caution had come out, it would have been just like 2023 where Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was just in front of Christopher Bell and Joey Logano when the caution came out. He would have been in front of Reddick and Elliott and probably could have gotten a second Daytona 500 win. But didn't happen. He lost momentum in the middle. Still, he was involved with the wreck, but limped home in second, hit the wall, and his car looked beat and battered. Everybody not named Tyler Reddick, because their cars were beaten and battered pretty good. I can tell you that right now. So, Stenhouse Jr. comes home second. Joey Logano, I don't know why Logano is always in position to win the races and restricted play races, but just doesn't get him. I don't understand why. They were showing, he was in the truck booth on Friday, and they were showing all of his Daytona 500 losses, like 2021 where he was leading on the final lap, and him and his teammate at the time, Brad Keselowski, wrecked. 2023, as I mentioned, where he was close, lost at the Stenhouse. And then here, he was in the lead pack. He finished third. Obviously, was involved in the wreck as well. So there's that, but it's rough for Logano. Chase Elliott comes home in 4th place. Oh my goodness. I faced so much heartbreak from not just being a Chase Elliott fan, for being a Sheldon Creed, Stuart Friesen, Daniel Hemrick, Noah Gragson. Yes, it's my fault for rooting for some of those drivers. I kind of walked into that trap because, they hadn't won a race, so I wanted to root for them. And yeah, that's kind of my fault. But when I became a Chase Elliott fan. When did I start watching NASCAR? 2016, 2017. I didn't know what I was going to get into. I didn't know that this was going to happen. And when I became a Ravens fan in 2020, I didn't know we were going to choke in the playoffs every single year. Look at what's happened this year. Tyler Loop misses the kick, and we're eliminated from the playoffs, and we lose the division, or eliminated for playoff contention. And then Chase Elliott, he was about 5 seconds away, or maybe about 1,500 feet, maybe 1,000 from the Daytona 500 win, the big race that everybody wants to win in NASCAR, and doesn't get it done. It is so freaking frustrating. I cannot tell you. This is the biggest loss, most heartbreaking loss by far. It's not even close. I'm still just got a sour taste in my mouth. I can't look at that finish. I've watched that finish so many times, and it has an asterisk next to me because it's just Elliott could not get it done, and it was frustrating. Obviously, he got the first block. He did not block Reddick when he went down at the bottom, saying that if he would have went to the bottom, he probably would have spun. Probably could have wrecked himself. Probably could have wrecked Reddick. Probably could have wrecked everybody. Who knows? The 9th place car, Josh Berry, probably could have won. Who knows? Who knows what would have happened? So yeah, it was disappointing. And then obviously, Reddick had enough steam, and then obviously Earps, wrecked and then clipped Elliott at the last second. Maybe he would have had enough momentum to slingshot him back at the last second. I doubt it though. Just sucks. It was a hard hit for Elliott though. God is okay, but man, that sucks. Definitely the most heartbreaking loss of Elliott's career. Definitely the most heartbreaking loss I've witnessed as a fan. It's not even close. Brad Keselowski comes home 5th. Again, so close. Had momentum, but then Earps had other plans. Was disappointing. Maybe he could have gotten there. Maybe we could have had a 3-4 wide finish. Who knows? But again, so close again for Brad Keselowski. Zane Smith was 2nd coming out of 4. Lost all momentum when Reddick and Earps passed him and lost and fell back to 6th. Chris Buescher RFK was pretty quiet this Speed Weeks. I mentioned, but Brad and Buescher were up there. Priest was up there somewhat. Didn't really contend for much, but they were pretty quiet. But Buescher finished 7th. Riley Earps comes home 8th. Yeah, if Earps played his cards right, he's a Daytona 500 winner. I know everyone's mad at Earps for that move, and I am, but I'm gonna. This is probably a hot take. I'm actually gonna defend Riley Earps for the move that he made. Yes, it was weird that he went with his teammate and then he tried to go for the win for himself. Yeah, that's what it made. It worked. He went with his teammate and he helped out his team by wrecking everybody in the lead pack that wasn't Tyler Reddick. So in a way, he did it. He did it. But then he went for the win and was late on the block to Brad Keselowski. But if he's not late, if he gets in front of Brad, Riley Earps probably wins the Daytona 500 because Elliott doesn't have momentum and Reddick doesn't have momentum. It's crazy to think, but unfortunately, option B happened, and he missed the block, and then wrecked him, Brad, the whole field except Reddick. Yeah, I mentioned it before. So yeah, that was about bad block by Earps. Not too good, but it's a Daytona 500. It's the last moments. Everyone's gonna do everything it takes. So sucks. But anyways, Josh Berry comes out 9th, and Bubba Wallace 10th. Bubba Wallace won a stage, looked pretty good, lost the lead late, and then, came home with the top 10. So there's that. Noah Gragson comes home 11th. It is William Byron who comes home 12th. Again, was involved. I think he got through the Hocevar and Eric Jones wrecked on the final lap, but lost so much momentum that he fell way back, so that sucked for him. Daniel Suarez in his first ride with Spire, 13th. Ty Gibbs, 14th. Kyle Busch, the pole sitter, 15th. Sucks. He doesn't get his 500 win, unfortunately. 21 tries. Gonna have to try next season for try number 22. Kyle Larson, 16th. Cody Ware led some laps, was up there pretty good. He's 17th. Carson Hocevar is credited with the fastest lap. 18th he's credited with after leading on the final lap. Still looking for his first career win. Sucks. Not going to come there. A.J. Allmendinger, 19th. Ross Chastain is 20th. Eric Jones is 21st. Michael McDowell, 22nd. Ty Gibbs, Cole Custer, and Ryan Preece are the top 25. Followed by John Nemechek, Ryan Blaney, Corey Heim, Jimmy Johnson, and SVG. They are the top 30. Going down, Denny Hamlin, Casey Mears, Connor Zillage, Austin Cindric, and Christopher Bell were the top 35. And then outside of that, Chase Briscoe, Austin Dillon, Justin Allgaier, Todd Gilliland, and Alex Bowman were 40th. And then the 41st car was BJ McLeod. So yeah, a lot of chaos. There's one happy driver and a bunch of angry drivers and upset and frustrated drivers. That's a Daytona 500 for you. But anyways, let's go in chronological order with all the wrecks that happened. It started pretty early, like lap 4 or 6. BJ McLeod blows a tire. Wrecks and collects guys like William Byron and Justin Allgaier, who were able to continue, but BJ McLeod is not, so his race ended early. The only reason he was even in the 500 is because he originally wasn't. Anthony Alfredo originally qualified for the 500, but failed post-race inspection after duel 2. And then BJ McLeod got in. He got his spot. He passed inspection, but ended 6 laps into it. So sucks for BJ McLeod. The second wreck happened, I think early to mid stage 2. Was right up at the front of the field. Aggressive moves, aggressive blocking was Conor Zilic and a couple other guys. They spun around. I think Austin Dillon and Chase Briscoe were involved in it. That pretty much ended both of their days. And then the big one happened at the end of stage 2 when Justin Allgaier and Denny Hamlin were battling for the lead. Allgaier has a huge lead and Hamlin's coming with momentum. Hamlin jumps outside and Allgaier was one of those racing deals where it's like you could blame either Allgaier goes up or Hamlin's there. Bad block, in my opinion, on Allgaier's part and causes a huge wreck. Bubba Wallace again pulls through to win the stage 2, that is. I forgot who won stage. Oh yeah, Zane Smith won stage 1. I forgot because he and a couple other guys stayed out. When some guys pitted at the end of stage 1, they stayed out. Zane Smith got his first career stage 1, so congrats to him. He was contender all race long, and then obviously got a good finish. So there was that. But then the big one happened. So I got guys like Justin Allgaier who had a really good day. Then another wreck happened just after the final cycle of green flag pit stops with inside of 10 laps to go, where I think it was, I'm trying to remember here, I think it was Corey Heim, Christopher Bell, and Denny Hamlin were right there. I think Heim and went up the track and Bell got into Hamlin and they both hit the wall pretty good. It ended both of their days. Caution came out, and that's how obviously the final 4 laps after that played out. I think that's all the wrecks. I think Jimmy Johnson spun on pit road, but he was able to continue. He was kind of up there briefly, but not quite last season where he finished 3rd in the 500. Not quite like that, but anyways. How was this Daytona 500? Like I mentioned, it was wild, it was wacky, it was exciting. Besides stage 3, that beginning to mid stage 3 was horrible. It was awful. It was nobody was doing anything. It was the same 3. They were just again on paper it looks exciting. They're running 3 wide, and they're there the whole time and it's exciting. But obviously we know what it's really for. It's pity laps. That's what I call it. Those guys who led the laps like Corey Heim, Bubba Wallace, and those guys. Yeah, it was fun to see Corey Heim leave for a while, but those are I want to call them pity laps. It was just nobody's trying. They're out of the throttle and they're saving fuel, and it's not like he really earned it. I don't take anything away from Corey Heim. He still had a good race. So did Zilic and all the guys, all the young guns and all that. But still, it was a good race. As for the Grape meter, I would probably give this race, I would say maybe a 7 out of 10. Maybe not quite an 8 out of 10. I probably would have given it an 8, maybe a 9 out of 10. But that stage 3 just killed all the vibes. Maybe a high 70, maybe a 78% on the Grape meter. So there was that. But I think that's just about going to do it. The 2026 season's officially kicked off. Our first points paying race is in the books. On to Echo Park next week. All 3 series are racing there. Hopefully Chase gets some redemption. Obviously, if he wins at his hometown track for a 3rd time, it'd be cool in a 2nd in a row. Obviously, it's just not going to hit the same as the 500, but it'll at least, stop the bleeding a little bit. Maybe a lot. Maybe not, maybe somewhat. Not a little bit, but maybe somewhat. Maybe not a lot, though, but it still hurts. But anyways, that's it for this episode of Josiah's Grape Reviews. Hope you guys do enjoy, and as always, smash like, subscribe, and hit the little tiny notification bell. As always, that is a suggestion by yours truly. Just hit the notification bell, that way you never miss any videos just like this one. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed and good night, everyone. Happy, well, I don't even know what I was going to say. I was going to try a new outro. I don't even know what I was going to say. Goodbye, y'all.